We live in a world that is changing rapidly, with technological advancement and scientific innovation leading the way to improve lives and drive the economy of tomorrow. Texas is a region at the forefront of this change, with a strategic position to thrive in a wide array of upcoming industries. But the jobs of tomorrow come with a need for specific skill sets, which are already in high demand. Here in Dallas, educators are moving fast to make sure the students of today are prepared to be the workers that tomorrow's labor force needs. The key areas of study in this direction are collectively known as STEM: science, technology, engineering, and math. The Dallas Independent School District has prioritized STEM education at the local level. The district hopes to not only meet Texas education standards, but to instill both confidence and competence in the next wave of professionals who will push the region even further. The North Dallas Gazette recently sat down with several educators for their perspective of what is happening in the district's public schools and beyond. Science is one of the key pillars of STEM, and the Dallas ISD is introducing the basics of science to pre-K students as young as 3 years old.
What is really neat about Dallas ISD is that we are implementing the new Texas standards, right? So these standards are calling for something called phenomena-based learning. So it comes with a lot of hands-on experience for the kids, and Dallas ISD bought all the lab kits for every single science classroom in this district. So the students will have, well, I would not call them toys, but they will have the material ready to experience what science looks like in real life. So pretty much students right now in Dallas ISD are using something called, like, let's say in the past, right? So you have a magnet, and then you have things to try to see what the magnets attract. So before, we were used to just do the experiments like, oh, this one is attracted and this one is not. And that was it. Now we're not telling the kids that. The kids will be able to see that, but then wonder why some of them are not attracted. And with that in mind, the kids will design a hypothesis and then possible solutions into why, maybe because some of them got something there that the others don't. And then we draw conclusions based on that. First thing is learning like a scientist, which we call scientific literacy, which is a little bit different to reading literacy, but is included. So thinking like a scientist involves finding a phenomenon, seeing something, right? Making a claim about it, because that's what scientists do. They wonder, why is this happening? So then they start gathering information to build what we call evidence. So to build their knowledge around something that is happening, right? So for that information, they are using first-hand resources, which is the hands-on experience, but they also have to explore the second-hand resources, which is, or sources in this case, which is reading about it, reading from the point of a scientist, gathering evidence, and at the end, they will do the reasonings, right? They will say, okay, so this is what I believe is happening because of this. So they will make a claim, they will find the evidence, and they will give me a reason why that. Why is that so important for the future? If we begin that in kinder, by 12, we'll have a student that will be able to tackle problems in real life, because we don't know how the world is going to be 12 years from now, right? We don't know, with the technology the way it's going, we don't know what they will have to work with when they end their educational career in public education. So what we're creating is a student that, when presented with a problem, will be able to innovate and create possible solutions for that problem, no matter what the problem is. Recently, I had the opportunity to work with the Dallas, Broadway Dallas, right? And this is a unique way we're using the STEM. The kids in art, right, in the arts, are using the STEM design thinking process to replicate the stage of a Broadway that is coming, a Broadway play that is coming to Dallas. It's called Hades Town. So all these high schoolers are going to go through the design process to apply STEM to art, building costumes, building the stage. So imagine the possibilities. And I try to go outside of the STEM, what we call professions, because STEM is everywhere. So they are going to be prepared also in the career institutes to use what they know about the STEM to design better rooms, better plumbing, aviation, aquatics. So wherever they want to apply STEM, we're telling them STEM is the life and the world as we know it. So it's everywhere. So it will prepare them for any pathway they choose because they will not be easily influenced by the media, by opinions that are out there. They will have to come with that information and narrow it down before they make their final claim. It's not about the decision, it's the process that you do to make that decision, what prepares you to be successful in college. Yeah, the important is that the students will know the why to what is happening in the world. The students will not stay with what is it that is happening. Students will be able to apply the engineering process to create something new, solutions to problems in the world. Maybe it's being repetitive, but in reality, there is a difference between doing and applying. And Dallas ISD is all about applying what you know to real life situations. So our curriculum is targeting that, and my curriculum coordinators will enhance those experience in the yearly planning calendar. So teachers everywhere have access to activities and lessons that will engage students in finding solutions to problems, which is not easy anymore, right? We tend to stay in the problem, but we were leaning towards and what is the solution to this. And something extra that Dallas ISD does is in the STEM curriculum, we teach students it's okay to make mistakes, but we don't stay in the mistake because those mistakes help me learn. And I'm going to find another way of doing it based on what I did. And I'm going to publish that because somebody will take that as the point of reference. So another scientist will not be making the same mistake. So that's the value of making a mistake, talking about it, and moving up. And I believe Dallas ISD is doing a great job building that into our students.
Like science, math is another pivotal part of a strong STEM program. Every other pillar relies heavily on the ability to comprehend and work with numbers. Educators in the Dallas ISD say the focus on math is only going to increase, and the curriculum is constantly under assessment.
As far as our course offerings go, and as far as our math learning goes within the district, this starts as early as pre-K 3. And so within this course, you might see within our pre-K guidelines, students are tasked with rote counting from 1 to 10. They explore how to count up to 5 objects or compare sets of objects up to 5, where they're able to also use comparative language. Students also use objects to start demonstrating, for example, that adding 1 will increase the number of objects. And they also, for example, start recognizing common shapes. And so a lot of that, when we see how early students are introduced to some of those concepts, really just emphasizes how important it is to understand that kind of the compounded nature of math, where the skills that students are developing in pre-K 3 will position them to be successful in pre-K 4, K 5, and then, of course, through middle school and high school. As far as college goes, I'll kind of work backwards from high school and then on our way down. So in high school, of course, within Dallas ISD, we have one of the largest, if not the largest, P-Tech program in the nation. So that allows students to earn an associate's degree while still in high school, and of course provides a direct pathway to college and careers. At the high school level, like I mentioned earlier, we also have advanced coursework. And so with some of those courses like AP Calculus, like AP Statistics, We really are exposing students to advanced math through that high school coursework, of course, developing uh, and positioning students to be more successful on assessments like the SAT, like the ACT, and like the TSIA. Uh, as we kind of work backwards, the way in which students are able to access those advanced courses in high school, like I mentioned, is in a lot of ways dependent on whether they're able to access Algebra 1 in eighth grade. And so the way that we can best position students to do that, not only to access the course, but of course to be successful in that course, is by ensuring that they're able to access our middle school advanced pathway, during which they would take what we call sixth grade advanced and seventh grade advanced, where basically those are a year and a half. It's a year and a half's worth of content in 1 year. And then to access that middle school advanced pathway, a lot of that is dependent on how students perform in fifth grade. So if they are within the top 40%, or 60th percentile and above, within any kind of state or a state assessment, norm reference assessment, they are positioned to access that advanced pathway. And so, really, this kind of trajectory to access the advanced coursework in high school, that of course positions students, for a broader range of post-secondary options, in a lot of ways starts dependent on how students do in fifth grade. And so obviously that emphasizes how important it is for us to get really strong foundational skills and concepts, within pre-K through 5, so that students are, again, developing those skills, those concepts, where teachers understand the progression of those skills and concepts, and can understand why it's important for all of us to teach a certain concept in a particular way, because if I'm a third grade teacher, the concept my students are seeing today will be assessed or displayed or introduced this way in eighth grade or in geometry. We as a district have had one of the biggest kind of tier one implementation initiatives, meaning that if you were to go to any of our elementary schools, you will see the same Great Minds Eureka. If you go to any of our middle schools, you will see the same Carnegie curriculum. Um, Part of that is ensuring that we're providing equity and access to our students, to ensure that they have the same learning opportunities. And so, regardless of the neighborhood, of the zip code that you're in, we believe it's incredibly important to ensure all students have access to high quality instructional materials. We also kind of within that recognize that we do have a mobility rate within our district. And so if we were to think about a student who might move from school A to school B to school C, potentially even within the same year, how can we take into account their experience, and reduce any more significant levels of change, specifically when we think about their learning experience, in our case, for math classrooms. Um, the other piece is really thinking about this idea of, building from the ground up. So emphasizing the progression of learning where concepts build on each other. And then one of the areas that we've really been pushing, from our narrative perspective, but then also through professional learning, is our curriculum has a big emphasis on the why behind math concepts, not just, the what or the how. Historically, math has been seen as here's a problem, step one, step two, step three. But the question that we kind of task ourselves with is, how do we prepare students for questions that they haven't seen before, right? How are we preparing students for unimagined problems that may exist in the future? And so by really focusing on the why behind math concepts, focusing on those multiple representations of math concepts, we do believe that we're helping students develop a deep understanding and making them more adaptable problem solvers, along their, pre-K 5, middle school, and then high school journey. Sure. And I'll add one initiative that we've launched this year. And so this year we've launched what we're calling our K-5 Math Academies. So during, or as part of this initiative, excuse me, We are working with K-5 math teachers across 47 schools. And so about 600 teachers total, to really spend time studying math. The way that we've tried to capture the importance of professional learning and teacher learning is kind of in three buckets. One, content knowledge. So, do we fundamentally understand math? Do we understand the progression of math? Do we understand how the way in which students learn math in third grade allows them to access student learning in math in fourth grade and beyond? The second bucket is pedagogical knowledge. So, do we understand the instructional practices and routines that really open the door for students to access that content? And then the third is curriculum knowledge. So, do we understand how our curriculum is organized, why it's organized the way that it is, why some of those lesson components, like the ones that I mentioned earlier, are structured the way that they are? And so, by really tackling those three buckets, but specifically with the focus on content knowledge, through our math academies, we're creating a space where teachers can work together across grade levels to see the progression of that content and really understand, right, either where their students are coming from or where their students are going. And so it's a three-part professional learning series that over the next, by the end of school year 25-26, we plan on having all of our K-5 math teachers going through math academies. The content of this is being created in-house by our excellent curriculum coordinator team. And so we've been really excited by the sessions that we've led and the sessions that are forthcoming.
Some older residents who visit today's schools may find students engaged in educational activities that they viewed in the realm of science fiction when they were growing up. The district follows up foundational subjects like math and science with specialized programs to meet the latest tech trends and market directions. As early as the fourth grade, Dallas ISD students are taking classes in robotics. This industry is expected to grow tremendously in the coming years, especially when paired with advances in AI.
So I've been teaching robotics now for 5 years, and I mostly teach everything out of the VEX ecosystem. So VEX is a brand of robotics, and they have different robotic levels. So it starts off with VEX Go at the introductory level, which we do for a specials rotation. And then as the kids move on to middle school in sixth grade, they'll do VEX IQ. And then once they hit middle school, we have 3 different levels. So it's VEX IQ, VEX EXP, and then VEX V5. So these are so it's all under one umbrella, but there are 4 different ecosystems that fall through the same pipeline. And the other thing I also teach is drones class. And so with the drones class, they give me what's called a Co-Drone EDU, which is provided by the RoboLink brand. And that's just a programmable drone. Immediately, what comes off the bat is the whole building robots, programming robots, learning how to use tools like screwdrivers and wrenches. But something that I think often gets overlooked is the soft skills that kids really learn. They learn about teamwork and collaboration. The kiddos end up having to, when they go compete, it's an alliance-based competition. And so they have to strategize. They have to be able to use their voice and find their voice, really. While they're there, they also end up doing interviews with judges. And the judges will ask them questions about their robots. So they have to be able to understand procedural conversation and talk about, explain how they got to a certain place and their pros and cons. Along with their analysis of their challenges and how they were able to complete those challenges, right? So a lot more than we would think with building robots and just programming them. They're learning how to speak to adults, shake an adult's hand, look them in the eye, be able to respond, think on the fly, and communicate effectively, and as well as collaboration. One of my favorite lessons I do. So I previously had mentioned we do a little dance off, right? And so over at our campus, the culture here in the pocket that we live is a 99% predominantly Hispanic campus. And so to kind of foster in with our culture, I usually will do a dance off with them. But this dance off, it mimics learning loops, right? So in a loop, we're trying to figure out what part repeats. And so I'll find a cool line dance. And in our case, there's one called El Caballo Dorado. And it's a really traditional line dance that they do, like from quinceañeras to weddings and stuff, and really a lot in the Latino culture. And so what we'll do is we'll first we'll learn it, we'll dance it together, and then we'll analyze it. And once we can analyze it, we start learning what is being repeated. And then after we repeat it, we will start figuring out how we're going to be programming that and making it more simple, right? So at the end of this line dance, those same moves are being repeated over and over. So they'll start putting that into their looping body, and they can start doing the loops. Well, the kids get really creative, and some of them can, they try to dress up their robot in which way they can, and they put there's a touch LED that can, it'll flash colors, and so the kids kind of start putting in their own twist on it, and be like, because the robot doesn't necessarily roll left or roll right, it does yawing or turns, right? And so the kids have to find creative ways as indicators to kind of demonstrate what they're trying to do with that. And they seem to have a lot of fun with it. I'll go all out with it, and I'll put some music on, and not with the song itself, but I'll put like little strobe light with it. And so for that, I mostly just use the Vex robot that they build, just a simple base bot, a drivetrain that can be maneuvered, and we'll use some coding to go along with it. I think I live vicariously through the kids. I never had anything like this growing up. Like growing up, a robotics class. I don't even think I had the club. And if from now, what I'm hearing now that I'm older and I look back to my high school and stuff, I see that they might have had it, but like it was probably the best kept secret. And so I really enjoy like the cool things that the kids get to do, and we have fun learning it, and I have fun seeing them solve challenges. Their excitement when just yesterday they were working on a pneumatic locking clamp. They're using air pistons, and they figured out how to lock it. Their goal that they're working on for their competition challenge, and that genuine excitement that they get out of it is just so cool. And so I most definitely just enjoy seeing their successes. And again, I have fun with it. The competitive edge comes out, and we have a lot of fun with that. And just I truly do live vicariously through them. It's really awesome.
Offering real-world skills training is an ever-evolving process. The school district will often work with higher education or even industries to identify needs and meet them. When a new need arises, a new class is often offered.
This is a new program for Dallas ISD. So we just started this program this year. So this year, Electronic Technology 1 or Principles of Manufacturing program, I'm using soldering machines, AC/DC training system, as well as design software like in SolidWorks. Also, we use 3D printers. So yeah, these are the main equipments we are using this year. Eventually, we're gonna use like a hydraulic pneumatic system and make basic mechanical systems, as well as some PLC machines. Those machines we're gonna use next year and the junior years and the senior years. Our everyday classes start with the bell ringer activity. So on the bell ringer activity, all the students, like we were discussing what we landed on last class, and then we move on with a brief discussion and demonstration, and about brief discussion and demonstration. Then we follow followed by hands-on activity. Then I demonstrate what kind of activity they have to do. Then this program is more about hands-on activity. They are going to touch each and every missions, and they will do different experiments, and we'll continue that class like that. And the classes end up with the exit ticket. So students will, by the end of the class, students will be able to show what they did for a particular class. These program, actually, all these classes are articulated electronic classes at Dallas College. So whatever they're learning over here, they can use it as a credit for the Dallas College. This is the Dallas College program, actually. So whoever they want to continue this program, whether they want a certificate or whether they want a diploma in from Dallas College, they can use these classes as their credit. So actually, especially electronics field, there is no technicians. Actually, the electronics field, in Dallas area, we've been looking for many technicians, but there is a big gap. There is nobody want to join electronic industry because they've been thinking that that's one of the hard engineering field. And we have a big shortage of technicians all around, like Texas Instruments and Amazon and Walmart, because nobody want to go to this field because they're thinking that this is one of the hardest program. So what I'm saying is, if you come, if you join the program, like in a critical program like electronic technology, it's very easy to get a job, so this is not too hard. This is not a hard program. You can easily learn this program. You just need a just basic math knowledge and like some mechanical knowledge, and if you know how to use tools, that should be enough. And we will teach you this program. Once you get a certificate from high school, then you can really get a job. The job salary starting at $70,000 with the Texas Instruments. Actually, this program is developed by Dallas College and Texas Instruments because of their needs. So nobody know anything about it. So if you are ready to join this program, this is one of the critical field. And once you finish this program, you can directly get a job in Texas Instruments. Also, if you're looking for some higher positions, you have an option. You can directly go to Dallas College, because all this program, we are all these classes we teaching here is articulated with Dallas College. You will get a credit. Also, when you go to after this program with the Dallas ISD, you can directly go into Dallas College, and you can go for level 2 certification. Also, you can get another certification from here, another certification from Dallas College. Also, you have an option to go to university, and I think University of UTA giving some credit hours for this program, what we are teaching over here. I'm not sure about it, but still working on it. So this is kind of a hot field. Once you get this kind of certification, you can easily find a job. You don't have to wait in the line for a job.
Once graduating from high school, students have a wealth of opportunities to further their education in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. The University of Texas at Dallas is heavy into STEM when it comes to their graduates, comprising a vast majority of the top degree programs earned there. As such, math is highly emphasized, with professors also involved in math outreach programs in the community.
So the curriculum at UTD is going to offer a broad range of courses designed to more so prepare students for careers in industry, government, or further graduate studies. The emphasis is going to be on foundational courses like Calculus 1, 2, 3, computational courses like Introduction to Programming, as well as advanced proof and skill-based courses to help deepen their understanding of the common mathematics around us and around them. Different professors are going to have different strategies for different classes. So far, my favorite course to teach is going to be probability and statistics. So that's what I'm going to talk about. The main expected learning outcome of this course is primarily that students have an understanding or an appreciation for the randomness around us and can convert this real world randomness into a logic-based language for communications and calculations. Typically, the first step in learning the material is the hardest, as I strongly believe that human beings can naturally be explained as statisticians trying to be mathematicians, where we spend our entire day trying to impose certainty on random processes prior to making any decisions. So in our day-to-day, this is often done with strong assumptions. So in our course, we try to lay those assumptions bare and visually make the connections of the reality of randomness and the working assumptions of certainty that gives most people the confidence to make these decisions prior to actually discussing the logic-based language. Because, once you start talking formulas and numbers, people they tend to get a little scared. So being able to approach it this way has been helpful. And this is a great place for games, technology, and educational activities to be used to help build that intuition or, grow that fire of intuition that's already naturally in every living creature. Typical day in my classroom, if a homework is due, they're going to have a quiz on it. And, but, walking through the halls on any given day, the students are just going to be scattered around the school next to their nearest whiteboard, working with their peers and just helping each other, building bonds and doing their best to get through the material. So sometimes I will actually see some of my students in my class working together. And it tends to, brighten my heart because the first thing they say is, "Hey, Dr. Smiley, can I ask you a quick question?" Right. And that lets me know that they're definitely engaged, they're definitely trying, and they're interested. They're interested. Entrepreneurship, industry, government, further graduate studies. Realistically, all fields are more or less going to be open to the young student adept in mathematics and statistics with high communication skills. So when you can communicate and the technical know-how of mathematics and statistics, you can go into law. I know somebody from Morehouse College who was a physics major, valedictorian. He ended up going to Yale Law. But you can go to med school. There's just a whole lot of avenues, but most of the push is going to be industry, government, or further graduate studies. But the pool is going to be from everywhere.
Students who do the work necessary to earn a degree in a highly marketable STEM field generally find jobs quickly after graduation. The North Dallas Gazette caught up with one recent grad who is already off to a promising career.
I would say I have worked since sophomore year of college at UT Dallas. My first role was a software engineer or front end developer at Trusted Worlds, and then I got an internship with State Farm that following summer. And throughout the school years of junior year and senior year, I worked as a part-time student. And now I currently work full-time as of August 5th. The advantage with State Farm is that we're really geared towards implementing the newest and latest technologies. We are a pretty old company, and because of that, there's like a variety of tools that State Farm uses. The tools that I work with on a day-to-day basis is heavily on AWS. So since our application is distributed by nature, and since we leverage cloud computing, we use a lot of AWS tools like AWS Lambdas, RDS instances, Secret Manager, various kinds of AWS services that are really helpful for us. And it's pretty easy to use. I work with AWS tools. I also work with JavaScript. So when we write code in our AWS Lambdas, the predominant language that we use is JavaScript. And we also use Terraform, and Terraform is basically software as infrastructure. So you can write these Terraform scripts that can deploy services into AWS. So it's really nice if you want to manage your code base over an extended period of time, especially if it's infrastructure dependent. And we also use version control extensively. So we use Git and we use GitLab to manage our pipelines. So whenever we're pushing code into a test branch or a release branch, we want to be able to manage the code and ensure that it passes various stages. So yeah, we use an extensive amount of Git and GitLab pipeline, CI/CD integration throughout our development process at State Farm. The ones that I can think off the top of my head were at UT Dallas. And at UT Dallas, I had the opportunity to build a definite and indefinite integral calculator. So given integral, and the calculator would basically do the integral expression, or it would calculate the integral. And given a lower and upper bound, it can also it can get those values and it'll output in a really cool way. So I was really happy with it because it took like a really long time to learn about the various data structures that were needed to implement it. So we used a binary search tree. And so yeah, it was really interesting. And I took that class with a professor named Jason Smith. I also took another class. I took an artificial intelligence class during my junior year at UT Dallas. And this class, we talked about various problems that AI tries to address. And one of them was board games and games in specific. So the game that I used AI to solve is basically the sliding tile game, where you're given 10 positions and 9 tiles, and you have to order them from ascending or descending order. And this was really cool because we use various programming heuristics, specifically the Hemingway heuristic and the Manhattan heuristics. And it was really cool to see how like subtle differences in the code would make a massive difference as far as like computational efficiency when it comes to solving AI problems. So I would say those are some of my favorite projects that I did at UT Dallas. And also, me and my friends, we attended various hackathons throughout the DFW area. One being a Hack DFW, where we were able to build a application that actually won first place in Tyler Technologies. So that was really fun. It was called Jurify, where jurors have a Chrome extension that blocks any sensitive words that could affect them and possibly lead to jury contamination. So I would say throughout my 4 years as a software engineer or learning to become a software engineer I worked on really cool projects. I'm a computer science student, and this is not just computer science in specific. You could be a chemical engineer, or petroleum engineer, or a biomedical engineer. Engineering as a whole has contributed so much to humanity's growth, and engineers have basically like helped address various problems. And even if we don't have a solution right now, the beauty of engineering and science in general is that we work towards a systematic approach in which we can get better results and more tested and true defined results through the process of the scientific process. Engineering is really helpful because I would personally say that a lot of the advancements that we're seeing in this world is due to like engineers, researchers, taking time and effort and coming together to make this world a better place. So engineers are very important in the advancement of society, I would say.
Thank you for watching this special preview presentation from the North Dallas Gazette. Look for our 2-part deep dive into STEM-related education in Dallas coming in January in both our print edition and NorthDallasGazette.com. If you have children or young ones close to you, encourage them to look at STEM education offerings in your school district or Institute of Higher Learning. The future is coming. Will your child be ready?